if I just want to access the investigation tool from scratch, this is what I can do. Just click the investigation tool, and it's just going to load a blank investigation. And you can start any investigation from scratch. But every time you do, it also, again, forms part of the audit logs. So I can check any of the different data sources. Access transparency log is when Google support accesses your data when you create a support ticket, and it'll actually let you know what data they had access to. So Google really goes beyond the call of duty to be transparent in all of their action, especially when it comes to data. Admin log events, calendar log events, chat log events, Chrome log events, Chrome sync log events, just a wealth of information that Google helps you surface for your domain. Device log events, different devices, just absolutely everything. And let's maybe focus on Drive log events, which is not a very difficult one. So everything in Google Drive, which is the foundation of your storage, whether it is native Google Docs like Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Forms, Google Slides, which we used for the presentation, or whether it is actual file types like a PDF or a CSV or an Excel file or a Microsoft Word file. All of that would be part of the Drive log events. And now I can simply add conditions. So I can look at different attributes. Who's the actor? Was it Nick? Or what was the document ID? I'm looking for a very specific document. I don't want to go and dig through a bunch of documents, or I'm looking for a specific document type. So let's say I'm looking for a document type, which is a Google Sheet, a Google spreadsheet. Let's add another condition. And I'm looking for where the actor is Nick. Give me that autocomplete. Thank you. And let's say where the action is create. The event is create, and you can see there's so many different events you can search for. So when it comes to this, you really just want to search for it, create. There we go. So I'm looking for a particular event where Nick created a Google Sheet. That's what I'm looking for. And that's going to surface all of those events for me. I can add date range filters to as well to kind of narrow it down to last week or last month. I can do that too. But you can see here, 84 different documents created. Lots of these are just for demos, just test documents. Can't show you that one, can't show you that one, can't show you that one. That was a demo, that's an internal doc. I can show you this one, okay. So click into this one. So let's audit this file. So audit the file permissions. So let's say this non-confidential file was shared wider than it should have been shared. It was shared with people it should have been shared with. And I need to go and take back some of the sharing settings. So I'm just going to select some people and let's set their access and let's remove their access. Apply and then save the changes. And now that let's just call this Radical Cloud Demo. Confirm. So now it's literally gone to that file in a random user's Google Drive, and it's taken back file permissions that never should have been on that file. And you can just add more conditions. Show me where files are shared publicly. Troll through those files to see where they shouldn't be shared publicly. I can spend hours taking you through the investigation tools, just an absolute wealth of information. I'm going to pass on in Candace in about 5 minutes. I just want to show you one or two more things here. And James and Candace, please jump in and interrupt me and let me know if there's anything particular.
No, you're doing great, Nick. Thank you.
You've still got 11 minutes, Nick. You're doing great.
Okay, I can slow down or I can speed up and show you more. Okay, so next, let's look at devices. What I do like, so let's just go to the home page to remove all the noise. So what I really do like is just how thoughtfully this control panel is laid out. On the devices side of things, you've got everything from managed Chrome devices, managed Chrome browsers, mobile device management, whether it's Android or iOS or tablets, doesn't matter. Even your Windows devices. So I'm not going to physically go into these, but on the Chrome side, I've got all my managed browsers, which I think is only my browser. It's usually only my stuff that gets managed for testing purposes. So you can see the browser we're looking at right now, this browser that I'm signed into, is this browser right here. I can drill into that browser. I can see all the extensions that I have in the browser. I've got some default generic information that might be useful for troubleshooting. You can see the operating system that I'm on. I refuse to move to Windows 11, all the extensions I have. But you can also see all the other different profiles that I have. I don't just have one Chrome browser profile. I've got many different Chrome browser profiles. Think of it as different Windows login accounts. Start up your Windows machine, different accounts you can log in with, and this is exactly the same with the Chrome browser. So I've got a lot of different profiles, and you can see that here as well. What you can also see is my machine type policies. Local policies I'm applying to the machine. You can see policies applied to particular browsers. So again, very useful troubleshooting or auditing information. And then you also have got some custom fields that you can set. So yeah, asset IDs basically. But it's not just the browser that you can manage for your users. It's also the entire Windows machine. So if I collapse Chrome, go to mobile and endpoints, Windows counts as an endpoint. And if I expand settings, you can see that's where you set your Android settings. That's where you set your iOS settings. That's where you configure your Windows policies. So that's how easy it is to configure the Google Workspace control panel. And then it all just depends on the user. So settings generally applies to an organizational unit. So here you can see a bunch of organizational units. And if I apply a setting to the root OU, it applies for everyone. And if I apply to a sub OU, it applies to everyone. I don't think that's a novel concept in Google Workspace, but just to show you, it works in the same way that we would expect it to work. And that way, I can apply policies to only a particular organizational unit, move a group of users into that organizational unit, and then the policies that I've set only counts for that organizational unit. And what we're looking at right now is GCPW, the Google Credential Provider for Windows. Yes, this is how you set up single sign-on for Windows devices. So if I could, I would show you how I would log out of Windows and log back into Windows using single sign-on. And I literally sign in with my Google username, my Google password, and then my two-step verification code. So it makes even my Windows sign-in experience seamless and extremely secure. Hands up, who of you have two-step verification switched on a Windows device? None of you, because it's a very difficult thing. Matthew, do you have it? But you're running Workspace, which is different. You're not running Microsoft. So I can set up Google Credential Provider for Windows, and coincidentally, installing this agent on your machine is also what allows you to manage the Windows device if you have it enabled. You can then set the account privileges, whether local users get standard privileges or administrative privileges. You can configure the update settings. You can even point the update to a WSUS internal server so that all your users inside the company updates from your internal server instead of each user going and fetching their own Windows updates, how you would normally do it with SCCM or Active Directory, or the same way you would do it with those Microsoft systems. BitLocker settings, which helps you encrypt local hard drives. A lot of us work with information in certain sectors where legislation tells us that we can only access company information on encrypted hard drives. So should that device become lost or stolen, that information is not automatically exposed to whoever can plug the hard drive out, plug it into their own machine, and start copying all of your files. So that's the BitLocker setting. And then for all other settings, there are the custom OMA URI policies. And this is how you set up any and all other settings. And if you ever wanted to know how you configure things, so I want to add a custom setting, how does this work? Just click on the Learn More. The Learn More takes you straight to the Google support page, which for a deployment specialist is the Bible. This tells you exactly how it works, how to do it, how to roll it out in bulk for all your users, and kind of next steps. Custom settings for Windows 10 devices. Here they suggest VPN settings, Wi-Fi settings, Bluetooth settings, device lock, remote wipe, Windows Defender settings, certificate stores, device hardware, camera, cellular connectivity. So these are just like custom settings, and there are so many more custom settings, which comes from the Windows platform. Google has just incorporated that technology, and it's now included in your Google Workspace admin panel. So you can manage all your devices. You can manage even your Windows devices. You can manage your Chrome browsers. And in the Workspace world, the only thing you need is the Chrome browser. So I've got this desktop that I'm on, and I'm only on the desktop because thankfully the South African government has allowed me electricity during this webinar. We're not being load shedded at the moment, but if I'd like to see my laptop that's currently not switched on, what open browser tabs do I have on that laptop? I can simply go to history, and not downloads. I can simply go to history and come on, recently, sorry. So Here's all my history, and because I only do work stuff in my work browser, I can just show you my history. There's not going to be anything dodgy here. But this is my work browser with my work history, but I've got the same work browser on my Windows machine, and I've got the same work browser on my laptop, and I can go tabs from other devices. And because this is my work laptop, there's nothing dodgy in here, but these are all the open tabs. This device was switched on 32 minutes ago, and I could simply go open all my tabs on this machine that I have open on my laptop. And that's why I love the rebranding of Google Apps that became G Suite, that is now called Google Workspace, because it's truly one workspace where you do everything from. If I show you my Chrome browser on this machine, you can see I've got a million open tabs. Let's just collapse that. But in this workspace browser, this is my Gmail. I can peek at my calendar. Do I have any free time today? Not really. I can look at my chats. I can look at the spaces where you've got group conversations, but you've got one workspace where you get everything done. My open tabs are my to-do list. And you can see I've got a bit of a to-do list going on there. You also have got these tab folders, these Chrome browser folders that you can collect a bunch of files in it and kind of expand and collapse them. You can see I should use that feature a little bit more. But if I'm looking for a particular file, I can simply search for it. If I had a file open like the ugly CSV file, I can simply search for the name, because the name is part of my browser history, and I can say, just switch to this tab. It's one of these spreadsheet tabs. I don't know which one it is, but I can search. So you simply open a new tab, search for the name of the file, switch to that tab. It took me a second to find it. And here is that Google CSV, a CSV file that I converted into a Google Sheet. And we probably don't have time to do a demo on Google Sheets, although I'd love to. I'm going to hand over to Candace in a minute. But you can see how you've got one workspace where you get all your work done. I've got a Windows desktop and I've got a MacBook laptop, and it doesn't matter because I use the Chrome browser on both of them. So the whole argument on which is better, that's fallen away. It doesn't really matter because you just use the Chrome browser on both of them. The whole ecosystem where I need Office for Windows on one machine and Office for Mac on another machine, and it's different formats and emails work different, that's a conversation of the past. In Google Workspace, you use the Chrome browser for everything. You've got your Drive files where you've got all your files in Google Drive. You can see I'm using 1.2 terabytes. My ego, I just need to be the person using the most storage at DigiCloud. I can't let Candace beat me. Fun fact, she actually did beat me when I checked the stats, and then I uploaded a very big zip file, and I just started replicating it to take up storage in my drive so that I'm no longer second. But I think with that, I'm going to hand you over to Candace. Thank you very much for the time. I always enjoy doing these demonstrations and presentations. And thank you to the Radical Cloud team for bringing us into this.